It's a DACcast. It's a DACcast. It's a DACcast. DACCCAST. Cause I said it's a DACcast. It's a DACcast. It's a DACcast. DACcast. DACCCAST. DACCCAST.
You're listening to DACcast, produced by students of Danville Area Community College. And now your hosts, Kaya and Keegan.
Yo, 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 it's Kaya and Keegan here from the basement of the clock tower.
Here on DACcast, we get to know the familiar faces we see all over campus in hopes that students at DAC and members of the community get to know each other a little better.
With that being said, we are here today with the Assistant Vice President of Student Services and Chief Diversity Officer, Carla Boyd. Thank you for being with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Okay, so Carla, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what a normal day looks like for you.
Well, I'm Carla Boyd. I am the Assistant Vice President of Student Services and Chief Diversity Officer for the campus. A typical day, there is no typical day. I respond to whatever the needs of the students are, whatever the needs of the DAC community, staff, faculty, basically whatever their needs are, and also trying to provide training opportunities, providing, I would say, thought leadership for different questions, things like that. So
Yeah.
I have my hand in kind of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead and we'll dive into your background. So
Okay.
were you raised around here?
I was not. I'm actually from Erie, Pennsylvania.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Pretty far away.
I was born and raised in Erie, Pennsylvania. I met my future husband there, and he started moving me all around the United States, and we landed here.
Interesting.
He's from Chicago, so
Okay, yeah.
that's how we got in Illinois.
Gotcha.
Did you ever live in Chicago?
No, I didn't.
No?
No, he was born and raised there.
Gotcha. And where'd you go to college at?
I went to college for my bachelor's degree at Edinboro University of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And then I got my master's at Eastern Illinois University, and I'm currently working on my PhD at
Whoa.
Illinois State University.
That's pretty cool.
At the end of the semester, it'll be 2 years in
Gotcha.
Really?
of a 3.5-year program, yeah.
So you can see the light at the end of the tunnel at
Nope.
all? No? No, not at all?
One day at a time,
Yeah.
1 week at a time.
Yeah. So what are you kind of concentrating your PhD in?
Well, the program is Education Administration and Foundations,
Okay.
and it's basically president prep.
Yeah.
I believe Dr. Nacko would like for me to become a president somewhere. That is in the works.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's going to be where I end up,
Yeah.
but in case he's listening, yep.
Just going to put that out there for him.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So you grew up in Pennsylvania. When did you move away from Erie?
You're going to make me date myself now. I have to actually think about that. I moved away from Erie 28 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to think about that one. Yeah.
So do you still have a lot of family there?
All of my family
All
is
of them?
there. Yeah,
Gotcha.
my mom, my dad recently passed, but he was there, and then all of my brothers and sisters. I have 3 brothers and 2 sisters.
So do you visit pretty often?
Not as often as I like.
Yeah.
I get home maybe once or twice a year,
Yeah.
maybe once or twice every 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on what's going on. It's been a little bit more recently since the passing of my dad, and then I have to,
Yeah.
take care of affairs with my mom. So
So can you describe Pennsylvania to me? I've never been,
Never mind.
and I don't know what it's
Picture-
like.
picture in the fall,
Okay.
rolling hills with beautiful fall hues.
Wow.
And greenage. It's actually very pretty
Yeah.
along the 79 corridor. It's a large city, and it's growing in some areas. We have a beautiful dock, the public dock, and that's where, when we were in our younger days, high school, we would cruise the dock. we did those circles multiple times, but they've grown that dock. It used to be just the street down, the street up. Now there's a beautiful conference center on the water. A lot of like nautical restaurants and activities. There's putt-putt. They've just grown it into a tourist, truly a tourist spot. And I love when I go home, going down to the dock and just seeing how it's changed from when I was there.
Yeah.
So,
Gotcha.
Interesting.
So I'm trying to picture the geography of Pennsylvania. Where is Erie at in the state?
okay. Are you familiar with the shape of Pennsylvania?
Yes,
The
yes.
box and then the little hook?
Yes.
Erie is the little hook.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
We're part of, we're right off of the border of Ohio.
Okay.
And you have Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Buffalo. They are all within 100 miles of Erie,
Oh, okay.
depending on whether you're going west, going east, or going south.
Okay.
Have you ever made the trip up to Buffalo, New York?
I have.
Yeah. Have you gone to like Niagara Falls?
I have not.
No.
No, I've gone to Ontario, and I vaguely remember this. We went to Toronto.
Yes.
And
I
we
love
did that as
Toronto.
I did that as a student, but then I also did it as an adult.
Yeah.
Totally different trips.
Totally different trip.
But it was beautiful. I remember going down the highway heading towards Toronto, and the Kodak. I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember Kodak,
No.
No, not really.
the film.
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah.
Well, they had, I believe they had their headquarters there, and the entire lawn, it had this big, beautiful Kodak sign done in flowers, and that's something I remember when we were driving down. I'm like, that is so nice.
You said this was in Canada.
In Canada.
Interesting.
Gotcha.
I wonder if the Kodak place is still there.
Hopefully.
I don't know. I think that, I think about that a lot, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I should take that trip again just to see,
Yeah.
because it was really pretty.
Definitely.
So we heard that you worked at Cedar Point for a decent amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
You can make her date herself again.
Let me just say this. It was between my freshman and sophomore year of college.
Okay.
Fond memories.
Yeah.
Fond memories.
Fond.
So take us through the experience, because you would like live in kind of a dorm atmosphere at the park
Wow,
and
that's
work
pretty
there.
cool.
Yeah. I'll keep out the really good parts. They were doing recruitment on campus, and I was like, what the heck? And I, filled out an application and forgot about it. That's usually how the great things
Really?
happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
you forget about it. And they called, and they said, we'd like to hire you. And you would be working in the Breakers Hotel. I didn't even know what that was.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, Cedar Point's, it's an amazement park. It's not a hotel.
Yeah.
I said, okay. And it is on grounds, and you'll be staying in the top rotunda. Because
Oh, wow.
you know how we have the rotunda and by the student union?
Yes.
Think of that circle 6 stories up.
Wow.
And they house the employees on the 5th and 6th floor.
Yeah.
And you could look down and see. I worked in the gift shops. There was if you think about it, the convenience where you get your sundries, and then you can get your collectibles, and then you can get like your clothing, your swimsuits and things like that. We circulated through those 3 stores, and I worked with a really fantastic group of people, young
That's
people.
pretty cool.
I tell any student that I'm like, if you have opportunity to go to work for any of the large amusement parks, do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when they close at night and you're walking through there and it's all quiet and it's dark and you see
That's
all these
pretty cool.
big, beautiful rides,
Yeah.
you're just like, wow, I'm in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got this opportunity through your college?
It wasn't through the college. I think they were just
There.
They were just there
Oh,
looking
okay.
for, because, I think they went through the tri-state area looking for, college students to work there.
Yeah.
And I met students from all over the country, from California.
That's pretty cool.
we had a lot of bellboys at the time. My husband's not going to watch that. There were a lot of bellboys we hung out with. It was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun.
That's a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I hear a lot of great stories from people that will like take internships at Disney World or Disneyland doing kind of similar stuff, and they always say it's fun. So
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to
Cedar Point or
Disney?
I've been to the one in, I always mix them up. The one in Florida is Disney World, right?
Yes.
Yes, I've been there, and it seems fun. So
Yeah. So you were talking about how you met so many people from around the country, and we also heard that you're very into traveling, but not only traveling, but learning about different cultures. Is that right?
That is true.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
could you tell us about maybe your favorite trips or something of the
They're
sort?
all my favorites.
Yeah.
Let's see. I took a cruise down to Mexico where we stopped at Cancun, not Cancun, but Cozumel.
Yeah.
Cozumel
I've done that
and
before.
Belize, and that was fun. I took another cruise to the Bahamas where we went to Nassau and Freeport, and I just like enmeshing myself into their culture, not doing the touristy stuff,
Yeah.
but going off of the
Yeah.
beaten path and just seeing how the people who are there, the citizens there, how they live.
Yeah.
Go to the places where they hang out. I
Yeah.
go, New Orleans, New York. That was probably the best.
Yeah.
Walking through all the different neighborhoods, and actually Canada too. It seemed like you'd walk 2 blocks and there was another country being represented.
Yeah. Definitely.
Because they have different, communities, and it was just wonderful. So, Chicago, anywhere I go, I try to, take public transportation because that's where you learn the true.
Yeah. Exactly.
You learn the true city that way. Always use their public transportation and just go and explore.
Yeah, I've done a cruise to Mexico and done some of those ports, and it's interesting because you'll get off of the ship and you'll hang out, right at the edge where you just gotten off, but then you cross a street, like more inland, and it's a whole new scene.
Whole new, yes.
Yeah, just very different than the very touristy base it had from the outside.
Because it's kind of boring when you do the touristy thing.
Exactly,
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. They show you the things that they want you to see. I'm like, I want to see the good, the bad, the ugly. I want to see it all.
Exactly,
Because
yeah.
I want to experience your culture. I don't want to just hear about it
Yeah,
on some tourist,
yeah. So did you dig deep in New Orleans?
I did some things that I wouldn't normally do.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I did a swamp tour, which I am not. I'm not an out. If Stacy told you one thing, she told you I am not an outdoors person. I do not do outside. But I did do the swamp tour, and learning about the Acadians was so fascinating.
Really?
Because we've taken Acadian, the Acadian people, and they keep going. Now it's just Cajun.
Yeah.
But that actually comes from the Acadians.
Interesting.
And I was like, that is so interesting. And where they came from and how they came down the Mississippi. That history was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Walked through the garden district, not just taking the tours and saying, oh, and that's that, but literally walking block through block and just seeing all the different things that are there. I get some of the tourist books just to see where stuff is, and then I
go from there.
And then I jump off that trail.
yeah.
We've taken the spirits tour.
I did that too. Did you go through like the graves and all that stuff?
Not that kind
No?
of spirit.
I did. It was
Just
interesting.
right over the head.
But it was the history of the spirits
Okay.
of the New Orleans
Yeah.
area. It's quite interesting.
I
'Cause
thought
you
it
don't,
was
you
very
don't think
interesting.
about those things. But just walking around, just by walking around, we ended up in the old French Quarter as opposed to the new French Quarter, where that's the touristy Bourbon Street, where everybody knows that you can only do Bourbon Street 1-2 good times, and you're like,
Were you surprised by Bourbon Street? I guess I didn't know what it was going in.
yeah.
And they were like, you have young children with you, just don't spend time going in. Just go straight through.
Yeah, I told my husband that. Don't look to the
Yeah,
left, don't look to the right,
exactly.
just go straight through.
Yeah.
Because you start looking around, you can get totally
Yeah.
distracted.
Exactly.
And we were kind of over that. Mm-hmm. And so we were just walking around, and we were in the marketplace, and they was like, well, if you really want good music and you really want to get a really good feel of New Orleans, you got to go to Old French Quarter. And I'm like, there's a such thing as an Old French Quarter? And they were like, yeah, just go that way. And we just like, okay. And we just start walking. It's nighttime. We don't know where we are.
No.
But we found some of the greatest clubs. And there was a young man who's, I think, a part of the Morales family, like Wynton Morales. He was doing a concert. And we're like, yeah, let's get tickets. We get tickets for this concert. And so we get to the venue, and it's a bar. And we're like, but it's supposed to be this jazz concert. And so they say, oh, yeah, go to the back. And we go to the back, and I'm like, where are they taking us? And we go through this room, and it's the studio with, seating and,
Really?
and stage and, yes, full
That's-
band. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Had the best time. We met a couple that lived in New Orleans, and they were like, oh, yeah, you got to come here if you really want to hear good music. And they were telling us about where to go and things like that. We had a really good time. And another time we went, we were just walking down the street, and they do street parades like
Yeah.
they pop off like that.
Yep.
And in the middle of the night, we're dancing around the street, and we literally walked the whole neighborhood listening to these drummers and and
Yeah.
these musicians,
Yeah.
and it was like this large crowd of us, and we were stopping traffic because
Yeah.
this parade is happening. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And then we just went back to some of the other venues and just listened to some really good music, dancing around, that kind of stuff.
That had to have been the most liveliest. Is that how you say it?
Probably,
the
yeah.
liveliest city I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Everything.
Never a dull moment.
Exactly. Something's
Yeah.
always happening.
Yeah.
Anywhere you look is something new.
And I think that's why we like it.
Yeah.
Is because we've had, I don't know, we've gone there maybe 4 or 5 times,
Yeah.
and we've had a different experience every time we've gone.
Exactly.
And I've gone with my sister. We went to the Essence Fest. That happens every year during July, 4th of July weekend around that time. It's just a different experience every time you go.
Yeah. Exactly. And you said you've been to New York City, right?
Yes.
See, I felt like I knew exactly what I was going into with New York City, as opposed to New Orleans. How I was saying is that it's different and it's really interesting. New York City was kind of like overrated.
Yeah. Kind of predictable.
Overrated. But
Yeah.
all the locals would say they don't know why people vacation here because it is very much so a working, commuting city. And they're all just mad at you for being there.
Yeah. No one cares about entertaining
Yeah,
you like they might in
exactly.
New Orleans.
No.
Yeah.
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 But it was fun. Did you get to go to Harlem?
Harlem? Mm-hmm. No, I did not.
Oh, yeah.
See, I went, this probably also has to do with something. I went during high school, during like a school trip type of thing.
No.
No.
But we got to do a lot of
get
stuff.
You're
But
not gonna do
they
that.
were also like, let's not go to that neighborhood.
Oh.
Yeah.
Our first trip there, my husband and I, now we are big on just putting on our sneakers and walking.
Yeah.
We literally walked from 34th and 8th Avenue, where our hotel was, down to Ground Zero.
Wow.
Down to, and that's 34
Yeah.
odd blocks.
Exactly.
We walked through several neighborhoods, and I'm like, honey, I think we're leaving Manhattan. And he's like, no, it's just right there, because you could see where Ground Zero would be, and it's like, oh, yeah, it's just right down there. And
Yeah.
so you just keep going right down there, and it was 30 odd blocks
It
later.
just keeps on going.
It just kept going. And then, but it was interesting because I said, not overrated, but everything you've ever learned about New York it's all just right in
Yeah.
one spot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not like spread out.
No.
Harlem, when we were in Harlem, we just got off the train and just started walking. We ran it because we were looking for a specific restaurant, the Red Rooster. We found that. We found Sylvia's restaurant, which if you know about soul food cuisine, she's one of the top ones. We found her restaurant. It was wonderful. And then we were walking. I'm like, now we're in Harlem. Let's find the Apollo. Now I'm thinking it's going to be this huge venue.
Yeah.
Not as
No.
big as the Fisher.
Wow.
And outside looks
Yeah.
just about the same. And I was
Really?
like, this is it?
This is
the
it.
Apollo?
Yeah.
It's like New York City in like one phrase. This is it.
And this is
But I also went to, all the places where, you see in the movies, like Little Stewart and, what was the one, Happily Ever After, where she turned into a cartoon character, or the
Oh,
cartoon.
Yeah.
Enchanted?
Enchanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, August Rush.
Yeah.
I like. There's a theme to all these movies. I went to all those spots.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Gotcha.
I want to see the Washington Park Arch and all this other stuff. So we found those things, and it was quite interesting. We walked through NYU. Didn't realize we were walking through NYU.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
It is.
Ended up in
In the
Tribeca.
city.
Didn't know we were in Tribeca. And I'm like, wait a minute. This is Bobby D's area. Let's
to pay
find Bobby
attention.
D.
Yeah. I feel like I want to travel with you. I feel like we could just get lost
Just
really
get lost in
quickly.
awesome
Get lo-
places.
Yes.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. But I always know where I'm at.
Yeah.
Because I look for landmarks to make sure. I'm like, okay, I passed that. So if I'm heading the right direction, I'm like, if I went that way, I know to go back. I need to go this way.
Yep.
Anytime. I love traveling.
Me too.
Gotcha.
Me too.
So when you were in New Orleans, this is just me being curious. Did
Okay.
you try the beignets and crawfish?
I tried the beignets. I did not try the crawfish.
Would that gross you out? Because I feel like that would gross me out.
It did. Yeah, the thought of it. My husband liked them, and because he lived in New Orleans for a while.
Okay.
And so he was able to share this with me, and I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
No.
But the
ben-
beignets, I said, you
beignets.
have to try them
Of
because
course.
you're here.
Yeah.
And so we went to Café Du Monde.
You have
Oh,
to. You
yeah.
have to stand
Yeah.
in the. You haven't been to New Orleans if you haven't stood in the mile-long line of Cafe Du Monde.
Yes. Around the
Exactly.
corner and,
Exactly.
over
Yeah.
the river and through the woods.
Did
kinda
you
thing.
eat alligator?
I did not. My husband did.
Yeah. It's just like chicken.
There's just
Anybody
some
wants to
things
know.
I just say no.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Some
thank
things
you.
I'll just say no. That's one of them. But the Jackson Square, just, all of that. Mm-hmm. You just, it's just a great place to be.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I agree.
Gotcha. So when it comes to your job at DAC and kind of your experiences, we also heard that you have a daughter that works at Kankakee Community College.
Yes, I do.
So do you think your time here kind of rubbed off on her to work at a community college like you are?
She literally grew up here.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I started working here, I believe, when she was 3
Wow.
or 4. And so, I ain't gonna tell you how old she is now because, again, dating myself. Yeah. So she literally grew up here. So every job that I've had, they've come and they've been to the events and things like
Yeah.
that. And it only seemed natural
Yeah.
that she would end up here, after she graduated from college. And she did. She found employment here. And then she spent a year in adult ed, I believe, or maybe a year and a half. And then she found an opportunity in Kankakee Community College because she really wanted to get out of our house
Yeah.
and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So
Is there a little community college rivalry
Just a
within
little.
the family? Yeah. Yeah.
I have noticed, everything is so much bigger and better there. And I'm like,
Interesting.
okay.
I bet.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I want to say, is there anything we did right? Is there anything we have better than you guys?
Yeah.
And then when it happens, I go,
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
Dak already did that. We already have that.
Yeah. That's funny. Let's see. What's your favorite part about your job?
Students.
The students. So you have a lot of one-on-one with the students, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah. And I literally love working with the students. Being able to see, anything that I do or say impact their life for the better, that's it for me.
Yeah.
I used to say, I can't believe they pay me to be here. I like the check.
Yeah.
But it's like working with our students, it's like, I can't believe you pay me to be here.
Yeah.
Like today, hanging out with you two, I'm like, this is fun.
Exactly, right?
I feel like that answer is starting to be more frequent.
What?
Kind of like having a fulfilling job working here with people, and they're like, this is the best job in the world, and I can't believe I get paid to do it.
Exactly.
So it's kind of something really cool to hear.
That's a pretty cool place to work.
Yeah.
I'm a strong ENFP, if you know about personality types.
Yeah.
And I'm a strong ENFP. And I live, I breathe for working with people and helping
Yeah.
people. And it gives me the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, and so with working one-on-one with students, you've started something, or can you tell us what exactly the toolbox is?
Okay, I'm like, I started a lot of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Which one are you talking about? Dr. Nacko gave the administration a charge, and he said, if you could come up with an idea that if there was no holds barred, if money wasn't an issue, Nothing was an issue. You could, dream big. And he called it a BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. I wasn't going to go there.
What a Dr. Nacko thing to call it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so what would you do? And, I sat down, one day in my office and I'm like, because I was looking at numbers, because, we have to look at data because we're a data-driven decision-making institution. And I looked at that data and it told us that our African-American men were not graduating. And the hardcore number was there was 25 that started in in a cohort, because we follow you guys through cohorts. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the cohort, only 3 had graduated. And that bothered me. Yeah, I did that.
Wow.
But you can see her face.
Yeah.
I'm like, I did that. And I'm like, and I looked at our institutional effectiveness research guy at the time, and I said, am I reading this right? And I told him what I thought. He goes, yep. And I said, oh. And so I went in my office and I wrote the toolbox.
Yeah.
It's like, what would I want to see? And what did I need as a student when I was in school? Because, I had challenges in school and stuff like that. And what have I seen throughout my time here at DACC with students? And so I just wrote the toolbox, and it was called the Toolbox Building Bridges to Success. And so the framework for it was to provide the tools for students wherever they meet them where they're at, provide the tools that they need to put in their toolbox, because everybody has a toolbox and everybody has tools in it, but some people have more tools than others.
Yeah.
And so it's identifying the tools that they did not have and making sure they had those tools in their toolbox so that they can be successful when they moved on to their next step.
Wow. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And how have you seen that grow or change?
It
Is it new?
It started in fall of 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, because the pandemic hit us in our second semester.
I was going to say, 2020 is kind of just a blur.
Yeah, it started in fall of 2019, and we started with 21 students identified and that were on our rolls. And by the end of that semester, we had 15.
Okay.
And then by the end of spring 2020, we had 9.
Okay.
And then by the time we started in spring, we had, or not spring, but fall 20, we were down to 8.
Okay.
Since that time, fall 2020, we've transitioned the program from under the direction of myself and Stacy Eamon, the Vice President of Student Services. We've given that program over to Jimmy, I call him JR, but I'm trying to use his professional name. But we gave it to JR Scruggs. He's now coordinating that effort, and he's been able to recruit other students. And I believe we're back up to 20 students, but it's just helping our young African-American men get the tools that they need so that they can be successful to persist through to graduation.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's
So
pretty cool.
was there any correlation between starting that up and having that realization and also pursuing getting your doctorate? Because I noticed that they kind of started at the same time.
They kind of started at the same time. Maybe without me thinking about it.
Okay.
But I know that there's more to be done. And I think the doctorate would provide the space for me to be able to make the changes that I would think would be necessary and have the power to do it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Definitely.
Gotcha.
And so with that being said, what are your goals in your career? What do you see in the next 5 years, 10 years?
In 10 years, retirement.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, between 5 and 10, it'll be retirement somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And then hopefully with the doctorate, being able to still impact lives on my terms,
Yeah,
so
of
to
course.
speak. But right now, it's just growing here at DACC. Wherever I can find where I fit, that's where I want to be.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
What does retirement look like for you? Everybody has a different answer when we ask them.
Retire-
Anywhere from like doing absolutely nothing to like
To
traveling.
traveling the entire world.
Yeah, exactly. Where do you see your retirement?
Well, remember the PhD is for my I say it's my retirement plan.
Oh,
So
okay.
I can do things on my time, on my schedule.
Okay.
Okay.
I would love to either teach, run a small organization, be a consultant, but do it on my own time.
Absolutely.
You
That
know,
makes
have the
a lot of
latitude to
sense.
decide when and how long.
Yeah.
Because I want to travel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very much so.
Yeah.
I want to see all the states. I haven't been to the North, Midwest, West region. I've never been there.
In our last 2 episodes, we were talking to people about Montana, that
Yeah.
state.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to go there.
Raving reviews, I guess. Yeah.
I really want to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go to Idaho,
Utah. all those
Utah.
places,
I want to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to see.
So I can tell there's no slowing down for you anytime soon.
Nope.
I'm hoping. Yes, I'm like I gotta beef up the retirement so I can afford that
Yeah.
travel.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I'm hoping not to slow down. I'm
Yeah.
hoping to be able to ramp it up because I do love. I want to see our world, and I want to be able to share that with people that I come in contact with. You know, like you guys. I could sit here all day and tell you
Yeah.
about my travels.
Yes,
because I'm sitting here
same.
thinking about when I went to San Francisco and. That was a head trip all the way down. But yeah, so to continue to just grow.
Yeah.
I'm a lifelong learner, and I want to continue to grow.
All right. Wait a second. We gotta ask you about San Francisco now.
Yeah. I've heard crazy things about San Francisco, so I'm really looking forward to this.
Not as crazy, I don't think, as you know you would think. We started out in Tracy. It's a suburb of San Francisco. It's across the
Oh, okay.
water.
Yeah.
It's like you have Oakland, and then Tracy's further out than Oakland. We have family in Tracy, so we went to visit them, and then we were going to spend time in San Francisco because we had never been there. And we walked all over there, and the funniest thing there, it's extremely,
Yep.
Yeah.
Up and down.
yeah. Well, when we walked to the wharf, which was probably the whole city, the length of the city.
Yeah.
We walked from our hotel to the wharf. We were down in near Union Station, and we walked to the wharf, which is San Francisco Bay. And we walked all the way around, and we went through Chinatown, and we went through because we went like sort of around the edge, and we got down there, and it was fun, and okay, well, let's walk back. And so we were like, well, we're staying on Taylor Street. This is Taylor Street. We could take it straight back to the hotel.
Oh,
How
no.
many of you are familiar with Nob Hill?
I am not.
I think it's the highest point
Oh no.
in San Francisco.
Okay.
I'm afraid of heights.
Oh no.
Get the picture?
Yeah.
We were just walking, and it was fine,
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I started seeing the sidewalk go like this, and I go. We get to the last 2 blocks, and I'm like, oh my god, I know where I'm at. Oh my god. And I look to the, because when you're crossing the street, it's a street going that way too.
Yeah.
You look out, and all you see is Oakland.
Oh
You
my
see- I mean,
goodness.
you see.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh my god, I started freaking out. We get to the top, and I'm like, oh my god, oh my god. I'm like, I can't do it, because we have to go down now.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
What goes up has to
I was
come
gonna
down.
say, and to go
And
down,
I'm
you gotta
look-
look down.
Yeah, and you have to look down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't do it. And I'm literally doubled over, and my husband's like, we gotta get down.
my
Our hotel's
goodness.
down
Yeah.
there. And I'm like, I can't do it. And he's like, come on, you got it. He goes, and he's looking around. He goes, I don't know what to do. And so I'm like, okay. He's like, you got to walk. And so we're walking, and I'm like, I'm holding on to the buildings. Going down, holding on to the buildings.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, they actually have stairs chiseled into the
Because of how
the
steep.
sidewalk because of how steep it is.
Wow.
And literally, I was like walking like this, trying to hold myself up, and I was holding on, and I'm like, and then
Eyes closed.
yeah. Once we got a little closer to my my hotel street, I was like, oh yeah, there's nothing. I can do it.
Yeah. Just like not disregarding the panic attack you had at the top.
And it's like, if you've ever, I'm dating myself again, but if you've ever seen the streets of San Francisco, that used to be a cop show. Well, it would, or if you've seen, let's see, which one was it? It was a Nicolas Cage film where the trolley car fell over. I can't think of what it is, but zoom, yeah,
Yeah,
Straight
that's
down.
it.
it's like, you know how they kind of careen right off of the
Yeah.
and didn't hit.
Wow.
That was interesting.
I should go. I think I need to go and experience it now.
Yeah.
I don't know how I do with heights, really. I guess I've never been put in a situation, so
I didn't do well.
no.
I didn't do well. San Francisco Bridge, fascinating to be on that bridge.
Yeah.
Freezing cold. This was the weird thing. The weather, I had to buy a coat while we were there.
Yeah.
Because it was sunny in Tracy, sunny in Oakland. We crossed the water into San Francisco, and it was cold.
Interesting.
And then as closer we got to the wharf and the bridge, cold. I mean,
Interesting.
and then you get across the bridge, and I think it's Sausalito. You get there, and it's balmy hot, and now you're like, oh my God, I got to take all this off. And
Interesting.
yeah.
That might be like the I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And but if you're standing on the wharf, you can look across the water and see it.
Yeah.
And we went to Muir Woods. That's another height story, because that's where the big redwoods and all this are located.
Oh.
When you get on because you have to cross over to Sausalito and get on the bus and the bus takes you up there. I knew I was in trouble when the bus driver stopped right before he picked up the last, people to get on the bus to go up there. He stops. He literally shuts off the engine, and he turns around and he goes, "Okay, folks." And I'm like,
This isn't good. This is
And he
never
goes,
good.
"I have a bucket over here if you need to throw up. I'm just going to let you know that the ride up there is going to be different. It's, there is no, it's a lot of height, and, you're kind of like, whoo.
Yeah. That's not the bus ride for you.
That is not. And so I get on this bus, and I'm sitting there because I'm like, going up, you see the woods, and so you're like, oh, if we roll over, trees will catch us right there. I mean, you think these things. As we kept going up, it became abundantly clear that we were riding around the side of a mountain with no guardrails.
Wow.
And I sat there and I'm like, just go to sleep. 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 Go to sleep. And once we got up there, it was a fabulous, you could stand inside of the trunks of the trees. It was beautiful, but I really couldn't enjoy it because I knew I had to go back.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing is I got in the back of the bus, because in the back you have the long seat and you don't have to sit near any windows. I sat in the dead center because I'm like, if anything happens, I'm going to be in the safest place of this bus.
Yeah.
And I sat in the back, and there was another couple on there, and she was not really good about the the heights and things like that. And she's like, I'm not really good about it, but I'm okay. And I'm like, I'm not doing well. I'm just not doing well. And she goes, it's okay. She goes, I'll talk to you the whole way down. And we literally just exchanged our life stories. And, she told me about her 3 sons, and I told her about my kids. And by the time we were down, I was like, thank you so much. And I had bought magnets. I buy magnets. That's my thing. I collect magnets. And I had bought different magnets of, Muir Woods. And I said, let me give you this. And I gave her my magnet, and she goes, thank you. She goes, because we didn't have time to get we didn't have time to buy magnets, and I love magnets. And she goes, and this is the one I wanted. And I'm like, there you go, girl. Enjoy.
Oh my goodness.
Remember me?
Yeah. Easy trade-off.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we took a picture together, and the funny thing is, today, you know how you get your memories in your phone?
Yeah.
Our picture popped up today.
Oh
and
my
so I fondly
goodness.
remembered, I'm like, this lady helped me get down from a very stressful moment.
That's the best part of traveling, is meeting people.
Yeah.
That is the best part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you and Don Nasser need to exchange stories.
Yeah.
We
'Cause
do.
Have you heard
Death-defying
about her story
stories.
about going on death road?
She
And
went
I
on-
think
When
it
she
was
was in
Machu Picchu,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
And it's just looking down, and you just see like cars already down there falling off, and it's very stressful. So.
going to Muir Woods, and there were people on bikes, and I'm sitting here going,
no.
why would you do this?
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, they were on bikes, and the bus had to, move over. So the bikers, and I'm sitting there going, "Can we just go home? I want to go home.
Can we just go home?
I don't ever want to do this again." But when I'm done, I can think back lovingly and say, I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha. We are now going to move on to our rapid fire segment called Deck Attack.
1, 2, 3, 4. Deck attack, 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 deck attack.
I mean, that's it?
Pennsylvania or Illinois?
Right off the bat. It's
Yeah.
always the first one.
Illinois.
Okay.
Okay. Mornings or evenings?
Mornings.
Winter or summer?
Summer.
Music or books?
Music.
Okay. TV shows or movies?
Movies.
Plane flight or road trip?
Road trip.
Not you don't like the heights and planes either?
I've done much better with planes.
Okay. Okay.
That's another story you guys need to hear later. My first
Part
plane
2 coming
ride.
soon.
My first plane ride.
Let's see. Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Eat in, dine out.
Dine out.
Beach or mountains?
Can I say neither? I would prefer the beach over the mountains any day.
Yeah, the
Okay.
height. The height.
And this is straight from Stacy. Sweet tarts or Jolly Ranchers?
You're so wrong. Right now, it's Jolly Ranchers.
Because I heard you banned yourself from sweet tarts.
Yes.
Why? You just like them too much?
I had an unhealthy attachment to sweet tarts. I'll say it like that. At least that's what I told my therapist.
Thank you so much, Carla, for being here today. We really appreciated having you.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Yeah. We
of
try and
fun.
make it fun. Thank you guys for listening. This has been the DACcast with Kai and Keegan.
Stay classy, Jaguars.